Hi everybody, my name is Jessie and I'm here with the Rocky Mountain Raptor program to bring to you another wonderful Wednesday virtual live stream. So today I'd like to talk with you guys a little bit about the diseases that we see here in our patients. And diseases are a complex issue, and this is by no means an exhaustive list of what we can see in the raptors. But I'd just like to cover a couple of the main topics and give you a little bit of information regarding some of the patients and then also some of our educational ambassadors that we have here with us. To begin, we have here with us a red-tailed hawk who suffered from West Nile virus. So she was brought into us from Fort Collins in 2003. So she's been with us for quite a while. She was in as an adult, and after further inspection, they did see that she was suffering from West Nile virus. Now, this is something that birds can recover from, but due to the way that the virus works, it does cause some permanent deficits in the brain. So this bird with us today, she is such a gorgeous girl. Take a good look at her. Some of the main deficits that she has suffered from are the loss of fear in humans, and this is a key note when we're talking about releasing rehabilitated birds. We want them to have natural tendency to steer away from humans, and with the swelling in her brain, she just lost that fear. She also forgot how to hunt on her own, and this is really important when we think about releasing a bird as well, as they want to be able to hunt and feed themselves. And so for most of our educational ambassadors, and especially this bird, we do prep and feed them specifically so that we make sure she's getting the nutrition that she needs. She's also a little bit spatially disoriented, so she tends to just do things a little bit differently, but that's okay. We work with her and she works with us as well. Another side effect of West Nile virus is the decline of vision, and this bird has seen some decline in vision, but we monitor it closely and it doesn't seem to affect her too much at this point. So going further into West Nile virus, it is a virus as named that is transferred most commonly through mosquitoes. And so the mosquito season in Colorado is through the late summer and the fall. So during this season, we look for these symptoms in birds more often than we would other times of the year. And this tends to affect mostly the hatchier birds as well as birds that are already maybe suffering from a different ailment. So the hatchier birds are new to the world. They haven't been exposed to many things, and so therefore they're a little bit more immunocompromised than perhaps some of the more robust adult birds that we might see. And then in addition, if a bird is compromised already, say they're emaciated and then they do get bit by a mosquito with West Nile virus, it's going to take a little bit of a tougher toll on them. So we start to see some of the symptoms that come with this. So when a bird is admitted to the Rocky Mountain Raptor program, our rehab team is great. They've had years and years of experience, and they can generally tell that something is a little bit off with the bird. And so the birds that come in generally are lethargic and emaciated already, but birds with West Nile virus can have irregular feather growth, as well as seizures and even loud, unusual vocalizations, as well as even organ failure and death. And so when a bird comes in, the rehab team is really good at looking at these symptoms and delineating what the bird may be suffering from. And so treatment with this, it's really just time and effort. So they get highly nutritious food, a lot of fluids. We give them the space and safety that they need to recover. And then we also can administer pain medication as needed. So let's take a look at a case study that we've had in the past. So this patient is a Cooper's hawk, and they came in back, 2017 is what this photograph says. So it's been a few years, but great example. They came in underweight, which is not uncommon for a patient, but they were exhibiting some of those unusual vocalizations I mentioned earlier. And so when looking at where the bird came from, the rehab team did see that it was from an area that has wetlands. And so after a swab and some testing, it did come back positive. But thankfully, due to our team's extravagant efforts, this bird was recovered and able to release back into the wild. Another ailment that we see in the birds is aspergillosis, or asper for short. So this is actually a fungus, and it can grow in damp areas, especially like in between leaf litter. So if leaves pile up and it rains, this is a great breeding ground for those spores. And so what we do to combat that is we keep the enclosures clean as soon as any debris enters them. And this helps keep it from building up and potentially causing that virus. And so the spores, the fungus. So the spores of this fungus gets into the respiratory system, meaning it gets into the air sacs and the lungs, and it can cause a cough and some sneezing. How's it going over there, little girl? Checking on the bird. And it can also cause, the asper can cause systemic issues. So a lot of organ failure, specifically in the liver and kidneys. Now this isn't ever really seen until after death in necropsy. So it's definitely difficult to tell what these symptoms are coming from. There are tests for aspergillosis, but they're very expensive, and just due to the exhausted monetary value that it takes to get these tests, unfortunately, we aren't able to administer them here at the Raptor program at this time. The treatment for this, though, comes in the form of antifungals, which is generally in a pill form that we just pop in a little piece of food and give it to the bird, the same way you might administer a pill to your dog or your cat. Trick them a little bit with that. So moving on, we do have avian pox, and this is the last disease I want to bring up to you. Avian pox is a virus, and it is highly communicable in raptors of the same family. And so what that means is that if raptors are genetically related, the virus will be easily transmissible, even more so than if they're not. And so this is mostly seen through mosquito bites as well. And it causes these horrible lesions, as you can see on the photograph, on any of the skinned area. So that it can include the mouth, the nares, even the feet, the legs. Anything with exposed skin is going to probably contract these lesions. And when a bird comes in with pox, it is a huge deal. It's, as I mentioned, it's very communicable, and so we want to have those high biosecurity protocols necessary. And so initially, we will clean and bandage the feet of the animal. We will isolate that patient from anybody that is going to be working with it. It's very delineated so that we don't have a lot of people coming in contact with that bird. And they get high nutrition and a lot of fluids as well. And then basically we just wait for the lesions to heal themselves and for that tissue to repair, and then we can move forward with the treatment and establishing where that bird is at. But again, if the best treatment for this is prevention. So we work very hard on a day-to-day basis, even without the mention of pox, to keep our biosecurity high. And so in order to make this seamless, we use different tools for every enclosure. So that would include the rake that we use, or the brushes that we clean with, even the gloves that we use to handle the birds. They all have their own separate ones for each enclosure. And these are regularly and routinely cleaned, disinfected, etc. We also make sure to disinfect the tools after each use. And we can even go as far as to use foot baths as we're entering an enclosure. And even PPE, which I'm sure you guys are more aware of now after COVID, with gloves, booties for our feet, aprons, and things of that nature, to just really, really crack down on getting any of the other patients or even our educational ambassadors sick with something like this. In order to just keep nice, clean protocol, we also wash our hands after ever coming in contact with a bird or entering an enclosure, and then before and after food prep. But we don't want to bring anything into the food prep, and we definitely don't want to take it out and give it to the birds. And so with a good team effort and lots of great protocol, we are able to keep everybody safe and healthy to the highest ability here at the Rocky Mountain Raptor program. So thank you guys for sitting in and joining me today. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. We are going to be hosting our very first Very Vulture virtual gala coming up. It's going to be February 20th. I don't know how well you can see. I wore my vulture earrings today to support because we are all very excited here to put this on for you. So again, that'll be February 20th here on YouTube. Please join us and check all of our website, social medias, Facebook for any other updates and information regarding that. And please take the time to consider supporting the Rocky Mountain Raptor program so we can continue to take such great care of these birds and give them a second chance at freedom. Here we have any of our online resources. Please feel free to check them out and like and subscribe as well.